Welcome back to the watch list. I'm Nicole Petalides. 2023 IPOs. So 2022, terrible. 2023, we saw the reemergence of some names, but still seemed somewhat slow. What is 2024 going to bring? Jeff Ransdell is with us, Managing Director, founder of Fuel Venture Capital, joining us now. So you have these high interest rate environment. How do you feel we may see 2024? How will it compare to the prior years?
Yeah, Nicole, first of all, it's good to see you again. I think everybody that you've talked to looks at 2024 in an optimistic way. We're looking at 2024 from the IPO perspective, really four drivers: alignment, investor sentiment, very positive. Change obviously is inspirational. Things that are looking like there's probably going to be a change in the White House. We think that that's also positive. Supply and demand. There's just a ton of private companies right now that are in the backlog waiting to go public, probably more than we've seen in the history of the private markets. So there's a lot of positivity. We need 2024 IPO to turn back on and be robust, and we think that it will be.
So you're expecting a change in the White House. There could be some new innovation. There's certainly demand for in your opinion, to move forward with new names. What names are you focusing on? I mean, are there names that we know that we can really sink our teeth into for 2024, which are likely to go public?
Even today, like the New York Post had posted on Reddit, that's kind of been a big theme over the last couple of days. I think you'll see that coming out very soon. I'm not quite 100% behind the valuation that's being posted right now. I think that will be lower. There's other really interesting things that are coming out also from the technology perspective. More younger companies giving public investors the opportunity to invest in some younger companies and participate in, what I would hope would be multi-generational growth. VR is obviously coming on board very, very fast right now with Apple, the largest company in the world, announcing that it's going to be, bringing its glasses to the public on February 5th. That's a really big deal in the marketplace, especially in the VR world. And as a result of that, a lot of companies are really folding in behind that draft. There's a company called Immersed that I'm really excited about, which is on the docket to go public in March. It's the leading provider of enterprise AI productivity solutions for VR in the workplace, which I think is really, really interesting. Apple, companies like Immersed, companies like us, we just think that tomorrow's going to be a very different workplace than it was yesterday, and things like laptops and desktop computers are going to now be on your head, and you're going to be able to move around and do your business from anywhere that you're at, and that's very exciting.
Yeah. We were talking a lot about the VR headset. When we think about this, first of all, YouTube, Spotify, Netflix not planning apps for that Apple VR headset. I think the price point was almost $3,500, right, for that headset. Where do we think that fits into the big picture? Is that going to all work and flow in the next year?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Meta right now, they control about 90% of the virtual reality market. They are, without a doubt, the 1,000-pound gorilla in the VR market. Mark Zuckerberg bet his whole company on this entire vertical going back 3 years ago, and even changed the name from Facebook to Meta. So it's really interesting to see how it's all playing out. And Meta just came out with their Oculus 3. Which, if you know anything about this space, the Oculus 3 is significantly, exponentially better than the Oculus 2. I mean, the moment that I put it on, I was blown away by its abilities. I think it's going to be really hard to compete against that. And that price tag of 3,000 plus, that's a big number for your average person. But again, I think that the vertical itself is going to be expanding significantly, and it's just going to be how we work moving forward. You go and buy an Apple computer, you're going to spend $3,000 to $5,000 depending on how you build it out, and we don't even think twice about that. So it may seem that way today, but as we continue to move forward, it'll be no different than spending $1,000 on an iPhone.
Yeah. Can we talk about the IPO market, get back to that a little bit? Because,
Yes.
we used to measure the number of IPOs and the value of the IPOs of that year. So are you expecting both a high number of IPOs and a high end of the year billions of dollars of worth of IPOs, or is it going to be many smaller IPOs, for example?
No, I think that we are going to see some much higher volume in 2024. I mean, just the other day, you saw the NASDAQ CEO. She said that they currently have 100 companies that are filed for IPO. And I mean, let's just cut to the chase. If she's correct on that, we're going to see a major rebound. You just had the New York Stock Exchange vice chair and a Monday in Davos. Quote unquote, I've got a robust pipeline amongst all different sectors. You're going to see a much higher volume in 2024, and you're also going to see big numbers.
Right.
We were just talking about Reddit. If the New York Post statement is correct, they plan to go public at 10 billion. That's a big number, Nicole. And so, I think we're going to have both, and it's needed. As I was saying earlier, there's a significant
Right.
supply of private companies that are waiting to go public. Right now, the data that we're looking at, it suggests that the most mature private companies that are out there right now are kicking the wall of $1 trillion. So you got $1 trillion worth of very mature private companies waiting to go public and simply waiting for the macro conditions to improve. And we think that those improvements are here. So we're very excited about what things are going to look like in 2024.
And just quickly, which of the IPOs that have come out sort of really was a standout to you? Because Uber, for example, right, we used to talk about when it came out and the path to profitability, and look at Uber at new highs and, entering the big indexes and such. We had Instacart, we had Cabo, we had Arm, we had so many names. Were there any that really stood out to you over the last year that you said, wow, and you're really going to watch that one?
Well, it's not necessarily that I'm focused on a specific company. I'm more focused on, the learnings from the things that you just mentioned. You and I have actually had conversations about Uber in the past. And, when Uber went public, it struggled in the early days of its public offering. But as you just said, it's hitting new highs today. And I think that that's what the public investor really needs to have a better understanding of, that nothing that is going on in today's world, nothing that you touch or nothing that you interact with today doesn't have a technology component to it. Nothing operates without technology. Technology is driving everything. I mean, the NASDAQ was up 43% last year, right? That's a hell of a return, driven largely by technology companies. So it's really about the public investor identifying great companies that they can get themselves invested in and participate in a long game, not a short game, a long game, and generate multi-generational wealth.
And to your point, there's a lot of money waiting to make some great moves. So we'll have an exciting year. Jeff Ransdell,
I agree.
Fuel Venture Capital. Thanks, Jeff.